Hello and welcome to Scrapping on the Fly. My name is Kristin and I'm here with my New Year Old Stash January series and combining it with Baby Got Scraps, which is a Kristin Crafts hop where we try and use up as many of our scraps as possible. And I have these pictures of my son and my nephew destroying the play structure that was in the backyard at my parents' house. They were allowed to. Just so you know. And then this is them, not destroying the playground. This is my old stash that I'm using up because everything else here is pretty much less than a year old or barely a year old to me. I know that some of these are probably at least 2 years old, created, but I only have had them for about a year. So I have Bro & Co. by Simple Stories, and you can tell there is just a couple scraps, a handful of embellishments and some stickers, and then a few more scraps in this Cartabella Teen Spirit. And I have that ephemera pack. I'm pretty sure I don't get anything out of that, you all. I almost forget, and actually I'll be confessing, I do forget that I have them. I've got my main 12 by 12 paper, which is the rules for Baby Got Scraps. And then, of course, my scraps, embellishments, and pictures. So let's see how this goes. So first things first, I have, like I said, a 12 by 12 white paper. I pulled out all the scraps from both collections. Right now they are separated, but will be combined by the end. Whatever is left over is pretty minimal. And I'm just trying to see what I can use to map my pictures, because I really don't want to pull solid cardstock like the 4.5 by 6.5 papers that I have. I really want to use what is in this collection to map my pictures. So I pull that out and get everything that I can use to be close to 3x4, because the pictures are all 3x4 and I can trim some of them down a little. So if it's like the back of a 3x4 cut apart, that's fine. So I get anything that's big enough for that, and I intentionally leave that little circular cut apart over there on the left because I'm going to use that. But first I want to mat all my pictures. So I'm going to get all these situated. I'm not going to make you watch all that, and attach them down. Like I said, these are predominantly papers from the Teen Spirit, but like that blue over there on the right is from the Simple Stories Bro & Co. So, and I also am going to end up not having all these pictures. One of them is going to get attached elsewhere. So I've got them separated because the ones on the top left are the kids inside. They're about to eat, and that is their plate. And the one, of course, the other side is the demolishing situation in the backyard. So I got my creative memory circle punches out, and I just punch all of these little round button-like things that say things like cool dude, like a boss, rad, epic, things like that. And they just, out of sheer force, shoved this thing over. My mom's wanted to get rid of it. It's been falling apart. And of course, the kids, are teenagers. The two youngest are 13, which you see in this picture. And our oldest are 20, well, almost one of them's 21, the other one's almost. So at this point, I am just trying to find a way to do some layers that look more stacked up, like I have, like full layers. And get these papers used up so that I'm not just holding on to like 2 little papers or something. I can handle throwing away branding strips, but bigger pieces of paper, it's a little hard. I'm getting better. For all of you who don't handle keeping scraps like I do. You can barely tell, but I've put 3 double-sided tape strips down the middle, and I am going to add the branding strips, and I'm adding them in different widths and lengths, but the lengths are going to be dealt with. Like I put them down this way on purpose, knowing that I'd be trimming them off or cutting or tearing or whatever, so I won't make you watch all that. And after I get them all laid down and all that tape is covered, I go through, and instead of cutting them, I tear them in different places, and I know doing this that there's a chance that whatever I end up doing on this layout, since I have no clue, you all, I mean, this is true Kristin scrapbooking, winging it. And I apologize that it is so far down. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm usually really good about keeping it in in your all's eye line, but I was getting a little flustered with this because I had this lovely idea to do the strips, and then I had this pile of papers, and then it wasn't working, and then I had to. So in the end, this might be one of my favorite things I've done lately. It was just a lot of fun, I think, just because I was, kind of throwing things on there. So I start by doing this right here, and then I decide, no, it kind of takes away from all of those layers that I just put down. So let's try and maneuver them over here so you still get that torn effect over on the left side. So then I'm like, okay, I kind of like this, except now what am I going to do with these other two pictures? And I'm thinking I could tuck them here, tuck them there, do this, do that. And I'm just trying to figure things out. I don't mind for some of the yard to be covered up because you can still get the gist of the destruction in the yard. But I just figured that plate was out of place. And so I decided that I would get rid of the plate of food. Although I would tell you, I wanted waffles for breakfast the next morning after looking at that picture. So anyway, I ended up taking that off and then just leaving these 5. So I have now attached them down so where they are is where they're staying. And I decided to fussy cut this out because that bright red, plus it's so big and bulky. So I cut out this high attitude level and I inked around it so that it would stand out wherever it touched the white. And then I kind of lightly fussy cut, but leave the red, of course, this warning, and I'm going to tuck it in that gap between the 3rd and 4th picture. And I won't make you watch me do all of that because I faffed with that for a hot minute, wanting to get it to where you could see exactly what it said. And so I just get that tacked down. I thought about putting it up there, but I don't want to. Part of what I'm wanting to document is that the way that the kids were entertaining themselves initially was with their phones playing games. And then we said something about going outside, and then they went outside, and my mom just said something jokingly about tearing down the thing. And you don't jokingly tell 13-year-old boys to go tear down a big wooden structure in the backyard and not think that they're going to do something about it. So all of those little circle punch things have little tacky glue dots behind them. And I'm trying to use them up because I have a roll of them and they keep getting caught up on things and I want to get them used. So that is what I put on the back of all of them so that I could get some of those used up. And I'm just putting them down anywhere, making little clusters of these circles. And I love how this turned out. I wasn't sure how I was going to use them. I knew I wanted to put some of the things in certain places, like where they tore that down. I wanted to use like the word epic and like a boss and stuff like that. And then up where they have their phones, I wanted to make sure I had like the little video game controllers and stuff, because while it's their phone and not a controller, I thought that was the perfect way to try and use it. I don't take pictures of my kid playing video games. His room is his sanctuary and I don't go in there. It stinks. Pardon me. He is a teenager. And so, I don't have as much of an opportunity to use that kind of stuff, like with pictures of him actually, playing video games. So I thought this was a perfect opportunity to do that. And so I just tucked all those around, and I love all the circles. And I got so excited with them that I didn't pull out any of my other embellishments except this one, which was the whole point of this whole New Year old stash. I wanted to use this up. Now, I show you this part right here because I had to peel it out of there. It was falling apart. If you all watched one of my layouts I did earlier this month, I was creating with a picture of my mom at church. And the church that I had by Jolie's was so old that it was falling apart. The stained glass windows were falling out. I had to glue the whole thing practically back together. So, your stuff can still be used. But yeah, use your stuff, guys. So now I'm going to show you the close-ups. Now let me just tell you quickly. I pull out the sticker sheets for both, and I tucked in baseball caps and another thing, like a pizza thing and some other video game things. Just some other random little word phrases and just tuck them in different places. I also put little word phrases on some of the pictures. This last picture is my Neff pup, and he is watching the boys tear down that thing, and he was like, what are they doing? Kind of look on his face. I just had to have that picture on there because he's so cute. So anyway, there's my layout. If you all go to Instagram or Facebook, you'll see the finished product with all of the stickers and embellishments that I totally didn't do until after our recording. I hope that you all will come back again soon to see me, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Happy scrapping!